But Raila also knows a lot of change comes through burning. Sometimes you destroy to build. If you live in a house which was constructed badly, roof is leaking, the walls are not steady, you can see they are cracking, you can bring it down to put up another house. And Raila knows it. Revolution is about destroying to create. Raila is a revolutionary, he knows that. You destroy to create. There is the Raila I know, and there's a Raila who is playing politics with Ruto, together with Ruto. That small part of Raila is what is dominating now. It explains to you the mood in the country, which you can't ignore. It tells you, if people can think, however few, however crazy, that this thing should end with the hanging of the president, yes, we should dismiss it because I have told you it's not serious. But it tells a story. In the words of Imbuga, when the madness of a whole nation disturbs a solitary mind, it's not enough to say the man is mad. We are all mad.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Treacherous Raila, that is the conversation we're having in this country as we approach June 25th, and we're with Prof. Manyora going to talk about policy and politics. A lot is happening in this country. So many people are scared. Who will save this country? But Prof, you look at this analysis of Raila, this front page of the Standard today on a Monday.
What are they saying? I've not looked at this.
Betrayers of Gen Z. The image of Raila there.
And who?
And Kasumwel.
Oh, Kasumwel.
Kasumwel.
Mark something.
Is this a fair analysis of Raila Odinga this time round, that he has been there defending people, he has been there, talking about issues that matter. But when it comes to Gen Zs this time round, he's together with Ruto, dinner together. Is this the case that Raila now is the betrayer of Gen Zs?
When I'm annoyed, like any other Kenyan,
Yeah.
I say that. But when I retreat, I ask myself, what if? There's always the if factor in understanding things, in arguments. The if factor. That's what if the other person has a point? Yeah. All of us can see betrayal. It's very difficult to see something else. Because all of us say, if Raila didn't hold Ruto, Ruto will fall.
Yes.
We all see that. But as a trained mind, I ask myself, what if? What if Raila is seeing something we are not seeing? What if he has a plan?
There's a statement
And someone was telling me the other day, say, Jogo ilimeza tractor. Lakini wakasahau kuzima tractor. Ikaua Jogo in 202. So what if, not necessarily that he will betray Ruto or something like that, but what if there's something? So if you remove that if factor, certainly you can't see anything other than betrayal.
His statement here, we cannot burn the country down to achieve change. Dialogue is the way forward, and I used the opportunity to push for reforms. Those calling it betrayal misunderstand the bigger picture. I was actually listening to you earlier, and you were saying you cannot get justice by any cost. We need peace for there to be justice. Do you think this is what Raila means, that dialogue is the way?
No, I didn't say you need peace for justice. In fact, many people pursue peace at the expense of justice, and you never go far. Justice must forever be present in what you are doing. If you put justice at the center, you will never go wrong. But not to the exclusion of other factors and other things like peace. So the balance between peace and justice is very important. And that seems to be what Raila is pursuing. That you may want justice, electoral justice. We want elections, we must become president at all costs. You can ban the country in pursuit of justice. Sisi ndio tulishinda. Hii kitu ni yetu. Na tunaichukua. Hata kama watu 1,100 watakufa. See, Raila seems to be saying no. There are times you'll compromise a bit on justice because of peace and stability. That is his message. But he's also getting it wrong in other places. When he says, the statement talks about
He
burning.
talks about dialogue. We cannot ban our country for change. Dialogue is the way forward.
But Raila also knows a lot of change comes through burning. Sometimes you destroy to build. If you live in a house which was constructed badly, roof is leaking, the walls are not steady, you can see they are cracking. You can bring it down to put up another house. And Raila knows it. Revolution is about destroying to create. Raila is a revolutionary, he knows that. You destroy to create. So nobody should spread fear among people that you can ban it. So what? No, when you ban, you build. But the questions must also be asked.
I'm seeing umeanza kuingia the question.
The question must also be asked. Not necessarily to agree with Raila, but do we know what that means? And are we prepared for it? When you ban to destroy, you ban to build. When you destroy to build, you must be prepared for the consequences. It's not a quick fix thing. It's not microwave kind of business. No. You cannot destroy today and hope tomorrow is business as usual. During war, the bridges are blown off, everything, buildings are destroyed. It takes years.
We'll get back to that because we want to talk about 25th in this conversation. But you said, what if there's something Raila sees?
Yes.
If he hasn't betrayed the people, why not just step aside from working with Ruto? Because you're saying that there might be something he's calibrating. He might actually go ahead and betray Ruto later on. But now when Gen Zs don't want Ruto to be helped, why shouldn't Raila just look at this and say, wacha nisikae na Ruto?
But I will ask you this. Why eat a banana before it is ripe? Maybe he's waiting for the banana to be ripe.
Don't you think it's ripe now?
No, maybe it's not, according to him. Maybe after 25th it will be ripe. But maybe it will be too late for him. But something must give way. This country, that's where we are. Soon something will give way. I don't know what, but something will give way. Situations like this cannot be perpetuated in the way they are. Something always comes up. If you look at history, we stand there at that point in history when something must happen.
Could it be that Raila is out of touch with reality? I was listening to him on Adani. Everyone was devastated with Adani, and he's coming and saying he's very disappointed that the Adani deal did not go through. He was saying that during that midterm retreat of cabinet ministers, he was very disappointed. Ethiopia is passing us. Our airports could have done better with Adani. Do you think Raila is out of touch with the ground?
I think when it comes to these issues of Adani and the rest, you see, I don't know who Raila is addressing. You know, I'm a communications person. It depends on who he was addressing. He was not addressing us. Because if he stood somewhere in the streets of Nairobi and said that, we could easily slap him. He's not addressing us. So he was addressing somebody.
As you're answering, I'm feeling you're balancing a few things.
I'm not balancing. Where am I balancing? I'm saying he was answering somebody, not us. He was addressing somebody.
He was addressing cabinet ministers.
No, not us. He was addressing somebody.
Someone, somewhere.
Somewhere. Either Ruto or the Adani group themselves. Or whatever. Yeah. And he was addressing something from a rational point of view. But even then, even if we were to sit here with Raila and somebody else, I would still argue that that is a wrong deal. Even as a business model, it's wrong. You can't surrender your sovereignty to an individual for 30 years. You can't give your national assets for a song to people. You can't give things that are of strategic importance to outsiders. You can't expose yourself to outsiders. You can't risk security in the hands of outsiders. So even as a business model, it's wrong. It's wrong. And finally, it is something Kenyans can construct. And even when you need partnerships and what have you, examples are in Tanzania about things that have been done. The bridge that was recently opened in Dar es Salaam. It's in Tanzania. Yeah? The longest in this part of the world. Built by Tanzanians themselves. This is a poor country. Rwanda is doing a better airport than what you are going to do here. Under terms that are not as stupid as our terms. So even on the score of really a business, forgetting about the politics, we want to develop the airport, which we do want to develop. There are better ways of doing it. There are enough resources within this country to put up an airport.
You've talked about him and treachery, and I've asked you then, is he out of touch? These
of
are
course,
the context. Because
I'm saying, you know,
even when it comes to affordable housing,
you see, I can talk like everybody else and say yes. But I can also put on another hat and say, there are other issues he's addressing. And even those that I'm saying, they are wrong. So for that reason, I will not agree with Raila on the matters of Adani at all, not at all.
Because you talk about affordable housing, Ruto
Yes.
was in Kisumu, he's giving his own land.
Yeah.
This shows
That is
that he's
politics.
actually in agreement
See,
with affordable
You see,
housing.
there is the Raila I know, and there's a Raila who is playing politics with Ruto, together with Ruto. That small part of Raila is what is dominating now. The Raila who thinks he can support affordable, he knows it's not right. Raila knows this. The affordable housing, the way it is conceived and the way it is being implemented, is not right. But there must be a part of Raila that knows there's a better way of doing it. For example, this is a devolved unit, devolved function. Why can't we let the housing be done by counties in collaboration with other agencies like National Housing Corporation? Why can't we empower the National Housing Corporation? Raila would know that the National Housing Corporation was established to put up houses across the country. And indeed they had started. If you go to many, including divisions, the so-called divisions, now they are called sub-counties, you'll find projects in those national housing. When this nonsense of World Bank and IMF came up with the structural adjustment programs and what have you, the finding priorities, social funding was stopped. If government had continued funding National Housing Corporation, there will be so many houses in this country. We can start. We can start by putting in our budget 50 billion shillings for National Housing Corporation every year. They will then work together with counties and the private sector. And within 10 years, the housing problem will not be as acute as it is. Where housing simply means houses, not the professional housing.
Yes.
They just talk housing like layman.
Yes.
To give people houses. And the government on its part will now concentrate on social housing. Because in the UK, if you retire, you are entitled to a house as a pensioner. Enda kaa ndani bure, wewe umefanya kazi, umezeeka.
Enda kaa.
Ukingoja siku zako za mwisho, kaa huko bure wewe mzee wewe, si ndio?
Yeah.
That's what government should do. But commercial housing, we should have different types of housing. Yeah? You can promote people, and the government has set up the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company.
Yes.
To help people put up houses on their pieces of land, in their areas. Then the counties can also do commercial houses together with the private developers. Government on its part will do social housing. And then in between all these things, government will be the one giving land.
You know, I want us to talk about Gen Z told Raila to step aside. You said banana inaweza. Maybe he's waiting for the banana to ripen up. Yes. But you've talked about KMRC, and I've just remembered we'll be at 1442 Kusini together with Cooperative Bank in partnership with KMRC next Saturday. And I think our audience need to know next Saturday we'll be there. If you're looking for property, if you're looking for a house, 1442 Kusini is there for you. We'll be having an open day at 1442 Kusini in South B on the 28th of this month. That is next Saturday. So you come. For those people thinking Raila is wrong with affordable housing, you can get yours at 5.7 million for one bedroom.
And forget about the affordable
forget about affordable housing, just like that.
Yes.
But bado utakatwa tu. But Prof, you're saying the banana can ripe for Raila to actually leave government. Maybe this might be a plot. But Gen Zs are saying, and remember last year, Raila kaa kando. Now we want to fight for ourselves. Do you think Raila has a space? Even after June 25th, maybe Kasongo, they go to State House, maybe something happens. Do you think Raila will have a space in this country when it comes to politics and governing?
Why not? It's politics.
Even with this hatred.
Raila is a politician. Politicians can turn the hate into love. And remember, Raila is a spirit. I've said this and people have not understood. Raila is not a human being. He can turn these things around. He's a spirit. And these are politicians. Politicians always turn tables on each other and on they do it all the time.
Do you think he can actually become the leader of the Gen Zs? Because Gen Zs
Raila can very easily become the president. And you see, I've been thinking as you are talking. I'm thinking about this. You know, Raila is a very informed citizen. And is an international citizen. If you look at the revolutions that have taken place in the recent past, in the recent history, beginning with Arab Springs and settling in places like Egypt, come to Sudan and so on and so forth. You know, nothing has come out of them. The retrogressive forces, in fact, foreigners as in Egypt, have come and taken over after. So you spend so much time You are in the Udit Tahrir Square or whatever it was. The one of Egypt was called what? Where people were assembling and taking shifts to go and eat, go and take a shower, and so the crowd was permanent. You are in Uhuru Park permanently. When change came, the people who should have taken over to change the country, they are not the ones who took over. We saw recently in Sudan, that famous lady leading the crowds.
Yes.
What became of it? So Raila could also have a point. But unfortunately for Raila is, when the people are drunk with the revolutionary spirit, sometimes they don't listen to things like those. They want to break the egg and the chick comes out. Maybe the chick has not been formed, according to Raila. If
So
you break the egg,
yes,
because the chick was there,
Yes.
has it gotten to a point where it can be a chick?
no,
Who will manage the revolution? Who will manage the change? So if you break and there's nobody, demagogues come and take over, who may even be worse. It's a very delicate situation.
let me ask you.
But it doesn't remove from the equation the fact that we must change this country.
Do you think we are there?
We must change this country.
And if we are there, do you think we'll have to break everything down?
We must change this country. There are people who should ensure that we don't break the country. And it's not the Gen Zs. It is those in power. It is those Raila is dining and whining with, who have the power to ensure we don't break this country. We change without breaking. In my video on Saturday, past Saturday, I said, government can show that they are not willing to break this country by allowing peaceful demonstrations on Wednesday. I have given them a program in that video. I say, let us start with the prayer at Uhuru Park and other activities, song and what have you, to wipe the tears from the mothers who lost their children, to console them, to commit them to prayer and to their God. Then from there, we have the police band leading demonstrators in the streets of Nairobi. Prescribed routes. From Uhuru Park, you can go to University Way, Globe Cinema, come back to Tomboya, or Moya Avenue, go down to Harambe Avenue, Kenyatta Avenue, back again, Harambe Avenue, and then back to Uhuru Park. And we have speeches, and people disperse by 5 o'clock. That is possible. If you think it's not possible, I said in that video, how was it possible we had hundreds of thousands of people in Uhuru Park when Raila was being sworn in? And nothing happened. People just went home. There were no policemen. People thought the army would be taken there to deal with the crowds. The police were... Uhuru didn't send the police. We now know why, of course. He didn't send the police. He didn't send the army, the military. But the crowd was an impossible crowd. Never witnessed before. But people just dispersed and there was no breakage. There was no stone thrown. So why can't government show that we can change this country without bloodshed?
If you are the president, though, there's this program online that ends with Hang Ruto.
Hanging, no, that one is now another one. I don't want
And
to
you see this program, what will come to mind?
Hanging
If you're
is
the
bad,
president, what will you do? If
Pardon?
you're the president in this situation, what would
Yes.
you do when you see this is the program that is
It
going around?
ends with your hanging.
Yes.
But that's not a serious program. Those are just the funny things boys throw on the media, on the internet.
So if you're the president...
You can't have a program that ends with the hanging of the
So if you're the
president.
president, you'll just say it's a funny thing.
Nah,
that
those are just a joke. But it explains to you the mood in the country, which you can't ignore. It tells you, if people can think, however few, however crazy, that this thing should end with the hanging of the president, yes, we should dismiss it because I've told you it's not serious. But it tells a story. It tells you that the level of anger in this country is pushing people to insanity. And when people have been pushed that level, they are not in control of their mental faculties. They are no longer human beings. And the things they do, because a human being cannot think of killing another human being. I'm telling you, they are not, even by the time somebody is killing another one because of maybe provoke, what have you, the part of you that is human has disappeared. This, the animal part of you And that's why those are some of the mitigating things and people can cite in manslaughter or murder cases in court until it is reduced from murder to manslaughter. And even that manslaughter, you go home. Because at some point you are provoked to a point you are not a human being. Your mental faculties were compromised to the level when you are doing that, you are not a human being. So government should not push human beings into being non-human in their action. Hang Ruto. That is not from a person who is quite normal. Unfortunately, in the words of Imbuga, when the madness of a whole nation disturbs a solitary mind, it's not enough to say the man is mad. We are all mad.
Everyone.
Yeah.
For Ruto not to betray this country, betray his oath and those that voted for him, what do you expect from him June 25th? You've of course talked about the police marching with protesters, but what do you expect for him so that we don't have this June 25th again next year where everyone
Raila,
is afraid?
Ruto extended his hand to Raila and that saved last year. I remember there was a Sunday he addressed the nation from when there was going to be a major demonstration on a Monday. Watch your Gen Z, ile 2023. Yes. I was fueling my car at Shell petrol station in Lavington. The boys they were saying leo ndio ile siku. And then Ruto extended the hand to Raila. And things went down. When Gen Zs were rearing, almost bringing down the country, he reached out to Raila again. And he has reached out to political leaders, and the temperatures have gone down. My advice to the president is to reach out to the people. This time, reach out to the people. Extend your hand to the people so that you can work together.
How will you do this? How can
and
you
in
do this?
particular, extend your hand to the Gen Zs.
How? Last year he was putting town halls and meeting people in different counties. How should he do that?
Those are just games. I'm not talking about games. I'm talking about serious stuff. Reach out to the people. First, let them know you are feeling them. You know where they are coming from. Secondly, work with them towards doing that which needs to be done to change this country. As for 25th, because you can't do things now to stop 25th. Leaders have tried to give in at moments such as this one that may be there on 25th. People do not have listening ears. Don't tell them you're adding salaries like Ceausescu. At the pensioners now get that. Nobody's listening. So this is not the time for the president to do anything. But let him show that he understands we have a challenge in this country. The best the president can do for now in the circumstances is to allow peaceful demonstrations on 25th. And thereafter, sit with the people of this country and begin the journey of changing this country. And I'm telling you, even 2027 people can say, now you have shown you understand this country. Let's go on, just go on. We are giving you another 5 years to complete what you have started. And in order for that to happen, after this, allowing for peaceful demonstration, the president must begin dialoguing with Kenyans, especially Gen Zs. But again, in order for dialogue to be taken serious by the Kenyan people, there are certain things the president must do before he comes to the table. Yeah, there are things you must do before you come to the table to talk to people.
Today we've heard he has increased from, with addition of 890 million renovation, State House has increased the budget.
You see, those are things you don't do. Now, you make sacrifices that make the big people comfortable. You remove the burden from the suffering masses.
Yes.
After this 25th, you have allowed peaceful demonstrations. You take action over certain things that are quick, low-lying fruits. Would include forming a new government by just asking ministers to go home and create, this time really change, not cosmetic, not to buy time, not to play games. Ambia wazee tumekaa na nyinyi vizuri, sasa endeleeni, kwa hiyo pesa mmepata, muenjoy, mfanye mambo. We shall support you in your businesses and everything. Let me form a government that can push this country forward.
All right. Thanks for tuning into that conversation. Do you actually think the president will heed to Manyora's advice? Leave a comment down below. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.